All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is James Fair. I am the cybersecurity VP here at Executech. And joining me today is Josh Moore, our VP of Growth. Josh has spent like the last many months we've been working together on this, but he's really been deep diving into the weeds on AI adoption. He's been helping other groups build out workflows, running pilots with some of our clients, and really figuring out what actually works in the real world. So today you're getting both perspectives. You get the tech side, security side, that's my part, and then the practical implementation side with Josh. Let me tell you what today is not. So this is not a sales pitch. You will not see a single product here today. This is not a buy our stuff session. What this is is a training. And we're going to give you real practical skills you can take back to your job site trailer and implement this week. And we're going to talk about something that's already happening inside your company, whether you know about it or not. And we're going to arm you with the tools to deal with it. Before we dive in, I do want to do a quick poll here. Welcome, Renee. Thank you for joining us. Get nice. All right, so I'm going to launch the poll here. This is a screen saying the poll, but I'm going to actually launch the poll. So if you guys wouldn't mind, if you attendees would please, have you or someone on your team use ChatGPT, Claude, another AI tool for work? And yes, no, or maybe you're like, what's ChatGPT again? Which is great. I'm glad you're here then. This is the perfect time for you to be here. All right, we've got 7 responses. So far, a unanimous yes. Everyone said yes. So let me flip back over to my screen. Come on, screen, cooperate with me. Yeah, look at that. Heavily yes, right? Everyone, 100% yes. So since all of you said yes, now imagine that same percentage at every GC in your market. Most of them with no policy, probably no training, and no idea what data is being exposed. Your estimators, your project managers, your admin staff, they're all experimenting, right? And let me move on to the next one here. So here's what we're going to cover today. This is our roadmap, 3 sections. So first, the risk. I'm going to show you what shadow AI is, why it matters, what's actually happening inside construction companies right now. We'll back it up with data and some real world stories. I'm really believing in showing you the science and the studies as well. Unfortunately, probably make your stomach turn a little bit, but that's my section. And then second, we'll get into skills. This is where Josh takes over. He's going to give you the actual, like the how-tos, a live demo of good versus bad prompting, real construction use cases, a framework for adoption, and then some really concrete stuff. Yeah, the pun was intended, sorry. Josh's been living this with our pilot clients, and so he's going to show you how this works. And then third, the path. So what do you actually do on Monday morning, tomorrow morning? We'll give you a checklist so you can start executing the next 5 business days. And we're going to save some time at the end for Q&A. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat as they come up or add them to the Q&A. Josh will keep an eye on those. So let's get into it. All right, so let's start with a reality check. These numbers come from industry research published in 2025 and 2026. These are recent numbers. And I'll tell you exactly where they come from in case you want to cite them yourself. I want you to be able to repeat them with confidence, right? So 53% of AEC firms now use AI tools. That's over half of the firms out there are using AI tools, right? Not experimenting at home, using it for work, takeoffs, bid writing, safety documentation, all of it. And it's accelerating fast. The share of contractors reporting, like they called it measurable business impact. That was the term that they used, measurable business impact. It doubled in just the last year, went from 17% to over 38% already. So think about like the Service Titan. This is from Service Titan's contract industry report, by the way. So whatever your competitors were doing last year, you can assume they're probably doing twice as much of it now. Now, here's where it gets really concerning for you if you're one of the leaders in the organization. 1 in 3 employees, and there's stats that probably show it's even higher than that right now, are using AI and they're hiding it from their employer. This came from Avanti's 2025 workplace research. And some studies I looked at, some surveys put it even higher. Like there was this, it was called KPMG. They did a survey of 48,000 workers across 47 countries and found that 57% conceal how they use AI, right? So why are they hiding it? Because they're afraid they're going to be judged. Maybe they'll be judged as lazy, or worse, wow, if AI can do your job, what do I need you for, right? So they're feeling like they're replaceable. So they're worried about, man, if I use AI, am I going to get in trouble for this? Am I going to get replaced by this? And here's the real kicker. 60% of employees who use AI at work, they're using the free platforms. We're talking about like free Chat GPT, free Gemini, free Claude. And on the free tier, whatever gets typed into that prompt box can be used to train the models. Your bid numbers, your subquotes, the means and the methods by which you do things, not just stored somewhere, but potentially absorbed into that model that serves everyone, including your competitors, unfortunately, right? These are real numbers. So let me tell you how to make this real for you. So picture this. Mid-sized general contractor, 40 employees or so, solid reputation, been around for 20 years, right? Good backlog. One of their PMs, great employee, been there for 8 years, starts using the free version of ChatGPT to write bid proposals. Makes sense, right? I mean, it's faster, it's more effective. The executive summaries come out cleaner. So this person, this PM, he or she is being more productive. But here's what I'm going to say he. I'll call it a he for now. Let's say what he's really doing. He's copying in the entire cost breakdown, probably subcontractor quotes, material pricing, labor rates, markup strategy, and pasting that into ChatGPT to help formulate this proposal. Makes sense, right? You need that the tool needs those figures in order to create the proposal. Real data, competitively sensitive data though, and probably does this for 6 months, maybe more. Nobody really knows. Here's something that we see sometimes. Something strange starts happening. This company starts losing bids, 3 in a row to the same competitor. Each time the winning bid is like really close to theirs, just enough lower for them to win it, but not so low that it looks like it's a mistake. Now, can you prove what happened? No, of course not. Can you prove it didn't? Also, no. But the PM's bid data has been sitting out in OpenAI's system for 6 months now. And we know from research by the security firms that they analyze something like AI across 1.6 million knowledge workers. 11% of everything pasted into ChatGPT contains confidential company information. So more than 10% of the data stuck in there contains confidential company information that can now be queried by everybody out there. And I want to be clear, the PM wasn't being malicious, right? This wasn't an act of maliciousness. He was, he wasn't trying to steal data or cause harm. He was trying to do his job better and win more work. But nobody told him what was safe to enter. Nobody gave him a policy and nobody trained him. Chip Health, it's called, runs at Stanford. They run a classroom exercise where they give students 1-minute speeches full of like statistics and stories. And the class is asked afterward what they remember. 63% recall the stories. Only 5% can actually recall the individual statistics. So forget the numbers if you have to. Remember the story. Because this pattern of well-meaning employees using free AI tools with real company data, it's happening right now at GCs just like yours. And frankly, maybe at yours. Okay, so before we go further, I want to talk about why construction data is particularly sensitive. Because not all company data is created equal, in the security world, and yours might be more valuable than you realize. Think about what flows through your systems every single day, right? So we've got bid pricing and markup strategies. This is literally your competitive playbook. If a competitor knows your typical markup percentages, your approach to contingency, your labor burden calculations, they can systematically underbid you. Subcontractor quotes and relationships. You've spent years, maybe decades, building relationships like these reliable subs who give you good pricing. That network, that's your competitive asset. And if someone knows who you work with and what they charge you, that advantage disappears. Project plans and specifications, right? These often contain your client's intellectual property, the IP, right? Trade secrets, proprietary processes. You probably signed an NDA just to get to them. Means and methods, your installation sequences, your equipment strategies, your crew configurations. These are things that you probably refined over hundreds of projects. They're what help you win. And client and personal, oops, let me get the right button there. Client and worker personal data. So this could be like social security numbers for certified payroll, home addresses, banking information for direct deposits. This is like regulated data, right? With real legal exposure to it. And here's the reality. Construction companies handle some of the most competitively sensitive data in any industry. But a law firm's data, if you think about a law firm, it's protected by that attorney-client privilege, right? And hospitals' data is protected by HIPAA. But your bid data, it's just sitting there. And if it ends up in the wrong hands or the wrong AI model, there's no law that gets that back for you. So let's break this down to actual mechanics of why this matters. This is the slide I want you to really internalize because this is where the risk lives. So on the left, we've got free tier tools, right? ChatGPT free, Gemini free, Claude free, whatever it is. When your employees use these, the data they type in there could be used to train the AI model. That means your subcontractor, we already covered these, but right, the subcontractor pricing, your bid strategy, your client information, it can be absorbed into a system that serves everyone. There are no enterprise security controls, no admin visibility, no compliance guarantees. You have zero idea what your people are entering. Now, on the right, the business tier AI tools. So this is ChatGPT Enterprise or Microsoft 365 Copilot or Claude Pro. These are fundamentally different. Your data is not used for model training. They're very specific about that. You get what's called SOC 2 compliance, which is a compliance regulation that is showing that they have to be, they've taken all these steps in order to prevent your data from being lost. You get admin controls. You can control who has access to it and when. You can see usage monitoring, who's using it, when, what tools, at what times. And important things like single sign-on, which I don't want to get too technical, but let's say you put all these parameters and conditional accesses in place against your Microsoft 365 sign-on. You can take those same conditional access policies and apply them to something like a pro tool like AI. So people are using the same login and password, and those same conditional access exists in there, making it way more secure. So here's the key insight. The AI itself is essentially the same, right? Either way, no matter what you're using. You ask the same questions, you get the same quality kind of answers. But the difference is entirely about what happens to your data when you hit that enter key. So think of it this way. It's like the difference between discussing your bid strategy in a private conference room versus going to a crowded coffee shop and sharing it, right? Same conversation, but the exposure is very different. And as a reminder from the previous slide, 60% of employees who use AI at work rely on free platforms where company data can be used to train AI models. That's not a technology problem, you guys. That's a policy and a licensing problem. And frankly, it's one of the easiest things to fix. So let's get specific about what's at stake. 4 categories of risk, and I want you to think about which ones apply to your particular operations. So competitive intelligence loss. An estimator copies your entire bid comparison, subquotes, material cost, your proposed markup into ChatGPT to help them write a proposal summary. Efficient? Absolutely. But that pricing data now lives outside your control. If it influences the model's training, pieces of your strategy could theoretically surface to output of other people. If people are like, what's the average cost of doing, of a bid like this? That data may be used in that question. They may even ask, what are my competitors, what are they charging for this kind of a bid, this kind of a project? And it's going to get answers back based on the data that you trained it. Confidentiality, right? A project coordinator sees an AI tool. Maybe there's this cool new tool out there in LinkedIn that promises to analyze construction schedules. So we'll use a she in this case. She uploads your CPM schedule for a hospital project, complete with the owner's phasing requirements, budget milestones, right? Doesn't read the terms of service. That's kind of a long, painful thing to read anyway. It's probably mostly legalese. Has no idea where that data goes or who can access it. Chances are pretty good. You may have just violated a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, that you signed with the owner. Compliance violations. This is a big one. A safety manager uses free ChatGPT to draft incident reports, let's say, or copies in worker names, injury details, right? Witness statements. Now you've got personal health information and potential litigation material sitting in a third-party system with no data protection agreement whatsoever. Because again, we're using the free ones. The last one, employee departure risk, rather. And this one's kind of sneaky, and I really want you to pay attention to this one. This is one that most people do not consider. Let's say your employee works in AI, they build up months of AI prompts, and they're creating workflows. They've got all this institutional knowledge inside of their ChatGPT account, but it's their personal account. And guess what? When they leave or go to work for a competitor, all of that walks out the door with them. Every prompt template that they built, every bid summary format that they refined, gone, and they still have access to it. So I want to ask you, and you don't have to answer out loud, but can you say for sure that your company's bid data is private right now? If you hesitated even a little, that's exactly why we're having this conversation. All right. So this is one of the most important slides of the entire presentation. I've said that before. I'm going to say it again. This is something you can literally print out and post in every estimating office, every job trailer, every PM's desk, like tomorrow. We call it the NEVER acronym. It's an acronym, right? So NEVER, and it tells the employees exactly what should never be typed in AI, particularly the free tier tool. So N, names and numbers, right? Client names, workers' names, social security numbers, project addresses, contract values. Just don't put them in there. It's great. Something you want to avoid. Estimates and bids, your pricing, your markup, your labor rates, your equipment costs, your subcontractor quotes. This is your competitive lifeblood. Vendor and sub information. So your supplier pricing, your subcontractor relationships, your negotiated rates, these are assets that you've built up over years for sure. Employee records, safety incidents, workers' comp claims, performance reviews, disciplinary actions, payroll data, all that. Please avoid putting in there. And particularly regulated and confidential data, right? Anything covered by that NDA. Owner furnished information, design documents, proprietary specifications. There's a reason we made this as an acronym because it's decades of memory research, right? Going all the way back. I won't go get into it, but shows that the brain holds onto structured letter frameworks far better than just like an unstructured list. So there's your list. That's why we built it this way. So your team can actually remember it when they're sitting at the keyboard at 10 p.m. trying to finish a bid. And if you do nothing else from today's session, print this never list, please. Share it with your team. Have a 5-minute conversation about it. That single action reduces your risk dramatically. All right, I've given you the risks and the guardrails. Now, Josh is going to show you what to actually do with all this. Josh, all yours, man.
Awesome. Hey, thanks, James. So we're about halfway through. So I want to switch gears here a little bit. James just showed you what not to do. I want to cover what to do, how to use AI safely and get real value from it. I want to get really hands-on and practical. But first, I need your help with something. Type in the chat real quick. What's one task in your role that eats up way too much time? Don't overthink it. Just one thing. It could be writing RFIs, generating submittals, maybe chasing change order documentation, sitting in on an AI webinar with Executech. Do not type that one in. You'll hurt my feelings. What's taking up time right now in your world? Lean release management? Yes. Yes, that's a good one. Other ones that are taking up way too much time. I know if you're in a compliance space and you're dealing with CMMC, maybe it's scouring sites, looking for bids that you could apply for. That takes time. True story, I actually recently built an agent for one of our clients so they could just simply put in filters around where they know they win in that space, and it populates jobs in real time so they can see what's coming up as it's coming up and get the bids in a timely way. Translation, they get to bid more, they get to win more. So AI is a lot of fun when you really drive things in. So yeah, perfect examples here. Thank you, Renee, for participating there. I built workflows around these and a lot more for our clients. The idea being, and that's what James was really building too, AI isn't about replacing your estimators or your project managers. It's about giving your team back time so they can focus on the work that actually matters. So relationship building, problem solving, field coordination, the things that only industry experts can provide. So what does safe use actually look like with AI? Now that we've scared you, we want to bring it down a notch or two and tell you a little bit more, but you can do safely with AI. So we've talked about the risk. We've talked about what not to do. Let's talk about safe, productive AI use, what it actually looks like for your company. And so 5 things, and this could be a checklist for you. First thing you want is, and James alluded to this very early on, you want a business tier AI tool, not the free consumer version. You want to invest in AI for your organization. So you want a business tier ChatGPT work, Microsoft Copilot, business tier Claude. Those are some flavors, some examples. But the point being, you want to pay for it, right? You want to invest in this for your organization. And these are the tools where your data is going to stay private, where data guardrails are in place. and where the tool itself isn't going to train on the model. So you want a business tier tool. Second thing, you want your data to stay private. We can't overemphasize this. This is a non-negotiable. If the tool you're using might use your data for model training and you're wondering, how do I know? If it's free, most likely that's going to be the outcome. So it's the wrong tool for business use, full stop. That's one thing you can do right away that will change everything for you. Third, you want some AI acceptable use policies. So you want clear policies, and we'll dive into this a little bit more later, but your team needs to know what data can and can't go into AI tools. This isn't about restricting people at all. It's about giving them confidence. When employees know exactly what the boundaries are, what they can drop in AI, what they can't drop in AI, it's going to give them more confidence, and they're not going to be afraid of making a mistake that's going to lead to their termination or worse. Fourth, you want to train employees on AI. The answer is not to ban AI. We could wait for this fad to be over, but I promise you it is not going away. We could wait for it to get easier. It's not going to get easier. So the best thing we can do is train for it. Just like we trained employees to spot phishing emails. If you don't know what a phishing email is, we also need to talk on the side as well. But point being, we need to train them to use AI safely, effectively. And so AI awareness training is the new safety meeting, especially when it comes to your data and tools that you are able to use safely. Finally, you want visibility. You need to know who's using what and how. If you can't see it, you can't manage it. If you can't manage it, you can't protect it. And we're going to cover that in just a little bit as well. And so this is the playbook: business tier tools, private data, clear policies, training, visibility. Get these 5 things right, and you've solved 80% of the shadow AI problem. Let's play a game real quick. I want to play a game of good prompt versus bad prompt. So you're in AI, you're convinced. You got a business tier tool. Now what? Now we start prompting. And so we're going to show you how to use AI well, because using it badly is easy, but using it well is a skill. And just like any skill, it has to be developed. So let's talk about this. Think of AI like a new hire on their first day. They're smart, they're eager, they're fast, but they don't know anything, right? They don't know your company, your clients, or your standards. And just like with a real new hire, the better your instructions, the better the results. So let's look at the left side of the screen. We're going to put this up for you. That's a bad prompt. It's real bad. I just cringe looking at it, actually. So write me a project update email. What's wrong with this prompt? Everything. Everything's the answer to that question. There's no context. There's no role. There's no audience, no tone, no guardrails. You're going to get back something generic and useless, or what I call utter AI nonsense. So it's like me telling my toddler to make me a steak for dinner and then just walking away. It's not going to be a good time. I'm not going to get a steak is the end of that story. That's how that's going to go. Now look at the right side here real quick. This is an example of a good prompt, right? Hopefully you can see the difference. You've set the role, you define the task, you specified the format, the tone, the context, and this is critical, you built in a guardrail. It's right there. Do not include any specific cost information or subcontractor names. And that last line, that's your safety net right there. You put the guardrail in yourself. So if you tried both of these prompts right now, the output difference would be dramatic. The good prompt gives you something you can send. The bad prompt gives you something you'll delete and that everybody will make fun of you for. So don't do it. So here's the framework to remember. Every great prompt has 5 elements: role, task, format, tone, and guardrails. And that's it. That's the whole formula. And you can start using it today. Again, that's role, task, format, tone, and guardrails. Prompting is the core skill that every employee needs in an AI-enabled, in an AI-forward organization. It's not about learning code. It's not about even really building a workflow or an agent. There's a lot you can do simply by becoming a prompt engineer. And that's the name of the game. Start building a prompt library today. We're going to cover that as well. That will help you tomorrow. So let's talk about this a little bit further. We want to talk through another potential solution to shadow AI. And we use 3 pillars. And this is the framework that we walk through with every one of our clients. So pillar 1, we want a secure AI environment. Again, we talked about this, but we want to give your team a business tier platform with data privacy baked in. And so this is going to provide a secure environment. It's going to minimize cybersecurity exposure with data guardrails in place. Pillar 2, we want to track adoption. This is critical. Just handing out the tool is one thing, but just like on your site, you can hand out the best tools ever. But if no one's using them, you're not going to get very far. The project's not going to move very quickly, and everybody's going to be upset. So pillar 2, we want to track adoption. You've given them the tools. Now you need visibility. You want to work with internal IT or your IT provider. Who's using AI? How often are they using it? Which departments are ahead? Which are behind? Which are lagging? Is estimating it using it more than project management? Where are the training gaps? This is how you eliminate shadow AI, not by banning tools, but by giving people better tools and watching the adoption happen. And I'll tell you from experience, the companies that track usage, that's where you find your highest value use cases the quickest. And that's what we see working. And then you double down on those use cases. So pillar 3. So we've got secure AI environment, track adoption, and now we want to train and develop. AI awareness training for every employee, role-specific prompt libraries. We talked about this. For every role, there should be prompt libraries being built and shared within your organization. This makes it to where people aren't starting from zero each time they go in to accomplish what they need to in AI. You want a department by department use case development. You want to share that across the board. And then you want ongoing coaching, because tools evolve fast. They're moving very, very quickly right now. And so you need to train people as their needs also increase to keep up. So these 3 pillars, they all dovetail, they all work together. The secure environment gives people the right tools. Tracking tells you what's working, and then training makes sure people actually get value out of what you're providing them. Miss any one of these 3, and you've got a gap. Let's get to some fun stuff. Let's talk about some specific use cases that we've seen. As James mentioned, been doing this now since really the beginning of the year, working with quite a few of our clients, helping them navigate the waters, building use cases together. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been very overwhelming. But we come out of it today with just a lot more information that we can share from just our experience. So here we go. Some use cases. Let's talk about where AI is delivering value in construction. This isn't theoretical. This is what we're seeing actually happening. So document processing. AI can eliminate up to 90% of the time spent on purchase order processing. Like that should get a hallelujah, amen, like right now. With that, it scans invoices. It can match them to POs. It can flag discrepancies. Some contractors report catching billing errors that save 5 to 10% on material cost, just from having AI double check the math, make sure the math's mathing. Safety documentation, this is a big one. AI can draft toolbox talk outlines, generate safety meeting agendas, help write incident reports, keeping the info anonymous, of course. There are use cases where safety managers cut their weekly prep time in half. Takeoff and estimating. Some industry-specific AI tools can complete quantity takeoffs in a fraction of the time, not replacing your estimators, just freeing them up to focus on strategy and pricing instead of counting door frames and door knobs. How about RFI or RFP and submittal processing? AI can draft initial responses, organize submittal packages, track status across projects. The admin overhead that drives PMs crazy, AI can accomplish all of that. Bid writing, executive summaries, qualification statements, project approach narratives, all things that AI can draft quickly, which your team then reviews and customizes. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. You need to have a human in the loop through every step of the process. Don't just send it out blindly, or you'll end up with egg on your face. The key is using it for the first draft, not the final word. So you want to inspect everything before you send it out. What about schedule analysis? AI analyzing weather patterns. If you're here in Eastern Washington, it's very simple, hot and hazy. But in other places, it might not be so simple. And so we need to analyze those weather patterns, labor availability, historical data to flag potential delays before they even happen. Again, it's just accelerating timelines. So the contractors who figure out secure AI first will have meaningful, durable advantages over those who either avoid AI entirely or adopt it recklessly and expose their data. So let's talk about adoption and implementation. This is where it gets really interesting. You want to meet your team where they are. The critical thing that most organizations get wrong is they try to go from zero to full AI adoption overnight. Company-wide rollout. Everyone gets a license on Monday to that tool. Good luck to you. Let me tell you, that does not work. I've seen it fail over and over again. You have to start small. One department, one cross-section of the organization, one set of use cases, and you get wins. And then you can build on that and you can expand. This is a crawl, walk, run model for AI adoption and implementation. Crawling is where most employees start. They're using AI chat, they're trying different models, maybe completing basic AI training. Let's be honest, probably watching some TikTok videos, and there's some really good ones out there, also some really bad ones. I digress. Exploring template prompts, and this is like a curiosity phase. Don't rush it. Let people get comfortable. So for a GC, this might mean your admin staff using AI to draft meeting agendas, or your safety managers using it to help write toolbox talk outlines. So that's crawling. Walking. Walking is where real value starts to compound. So employees are building use cases specific to their role. Estimators have a library of prompts for different bid types. PMs have templates for owner communication. Your team is tracking time saved and sharing wins. This is where someone in pre-construction says, I just drafted 3 proposal narratives in an hour instead of 3 days. Now let's get to the fun one. This is where everyone wants to be, but you have to crawl and walk first, and that's running. Running is where the competitive advantage really kicks in. This is where you automate complex workflows. AI is integrated into daily operations. You're measuring ROI across your organization. So don't force people to run before they can crawl. You need to meet your team where they're at. You need to celebrate crawling, cheer them on. You need to encourage walking. You're doing great. And then the running comes in due time. Let's get to the fun part, though. Let's talk about math. More specifically, let's talk about what's in it for you. Let's talk about dollars. Because I know some of you are thinking, this all sounds great, but what does it actually cost? What do I get back? Or maybe you're in the room today and you're trying to convince someone within your company that we should be adopting AI. This is a really good business case. You can really make a value. In fact, you want to screenshot this, highly encourage that. So a business tier AI license is about $30 per user per month. Here's the reality. A $30 per month AI license pays for itself in the first 30 minutes of time saved. 30 minutes, think about that. 1 RFI response drafted, 1 bid summary written, 1 safety meeting outline created, done, paid for. Instant value. But let's scale that. Say you have 10 employees who could benefit from AI. Estimators, PMs, admin staff. Industry surveys show they save an average of 3 hours per week with AI. And so at $40 per hour, which is a very conservative number for loaded cost in construction, you're looking right at $1,200 per week in reclaimed productivity. Over 50 weeks, that's a $60,000 per year value. Now, what does it cost? So AI licensing, $30 per user. The example that we're using, 10 users over 12 months. That's an investment of $3,600. Ad management training, roughly $2,400. You're looking at a total investment of around $6,000. So a $60,000 value on a $6,000 investment. Like I don't math well, but that's a trade I'm going to make every day. That's a 10x ROI in year 1. And you think that's crazy or outlandish or we're making some stuff up. No, the International Data Corporation, I'm sure you've heard of them. They ran a study with Microsoft in 2024. Over 4,000 business leaders were interviewed. So it's a massive sample size. Companies averaged $3.70 back for every $1 that they invested in generative AI. And top performers hit $10.30 back for every dollar they invested. So that's 10x. It's not a fantasy number. It's what the leaders, what the drivers are getting in return. So here's another way to think about it. When was the last time you calculated the ROI on either like Procore or Bluebeam or something like that, or your scheduling software? We don't measure it because it's just how business gets done, right? So AI is on that same path. It's just going to be standard for your organization. So James mentioned a checklist. Let's talk about that for a second. Your Monday morning checklist. So screenshot this slide for sure. And we're going to share the deck out, but you don't need to wait for us. 5 things, 5 business days. So you come in on Monday. What can you do? Monday morning, ask your team. Have an honest, no judgment conversation. Who's using AI tools? Which ones are you using? For what are you using it? Walk into the estimating office, talk to your PMs, ask your admin staff. You might be surprised by the answers. The most concerning finding in research is that most shadow AI usage happens because employees fear being judged. So make it safe, a safe AI space for people to tell you what's going on. Number 2, you need to check that data exposure. Are employees using free tier tools? They're probably not going to admit to it, but if the answer is yes, statistically, it almost certainly is a yes. You have data exposure right now, today. That's not a scare tactic. That's just simple stats and math. It is happening. 3, pick a use case. So we're on Wednesday now, if you're tracking with me. So 1 per day, you're on Wednesday. Pick a use case. Don't try to boil the ocean. Find a time-consuming, repetitive task in one department. Maybe it's writing an RFI response and project management. Maybe it's drafting bid narratives and pre-construction. Maybe it's creating safety documentation. Whatever it is, start with that one thing. Now we're on Thursday, number 4. Getting close to the weekend. We're excited. You need an AI acceptable use policy. Just write a 3-sentence AI policy. It does not have to be a legal document, just 3 sentences. We encourage AI use for productivity. Use only company approved tools, list those tools, never input bid data, client information, worker PII, or confidential project data. That's it. You just went from no policy to a policy. Here's a kicker. According to an Eisner-Ampers 2025 survey, only 36% of employees say their employer has any AI policy. So 3 sentences on Monday puts you ahead of 2/3 of the market. Finally, Friday. Before you kick off early on Friday, try it yourself. This is something I've been like disciplined to be doing this entire year on Fridays. Friday afternoon is my AI time. Don't tell my boss, but that's what I'm doing. Rather tell my boss. He's actually pretty excited about it. So this is what most leaders skip. They think they can just allow the staff to have the tools. They provided them. Just let them use it. I'm just going to delegate this out. Don't do it. Spend 30 minutes, just 30 minutes every Friday with a business tier AI tool on a real task. Lead by example. Share your wins. Share your losses. Sharing your losses are pretty fun. Everybody's losing, so why not share it? Winning's more fun, but that's where the real stuff gets told. So if you want your team to adopt AI, they need to see you using it. They need to know your AI fails. They're pretty funny. Let's talk about a resource that we have that we provide. You can do this yourself as well. And so we want to put this out as a resource to you. We have an AI assessment, and you can, I'm put this on the screen right now. If you want help with any of this, if you want a second set of eyes, here's what we offer. This is the AI assessment. It's designed really more than anything, give you clarity, a path forward. And so first we start by aligning with your goals. What are you trying to accomplish? Is it winning more bids? Is it getting proposals out faster? Is it reducing administrative burden? Is it improving safety documentation? Every GC is different. And I like to put it this way. When you learn to leverage AI properly, you are shifting that 5-year revenue goal and you're making it a 3-year reality. AI is accelerating everything, including your business plan timelines. So start thinking through that lens, and we want to align with your goals. 2, we identify what AI usage is already happening. So we'll help you audit what tools employees are using, and you might be genuinely surprised, and we'll identify where data exposure risk exists right now. 3, we prioritize 3 to 5 use cases, not 50, not a massive strategy document, just the specific high value examples that will deliver results fastest for your company. And then 4, we define your rollout path and you walk away with a clear, practical plan moving forward. And I want to be very clear about this. This is designed to give you clarity. Whether you decide to move forward with Executech or stay put where you're at, whatever that looks like, if you take the assessment and go implement everything yourself, that's great. Again, the whole idea is we'd rather you be safe and productive than unprotected because you didn't want to have a sales conversation. That's not what this is. It's a simple assessment. That said, if you do want to partner to help you move faster, some of us who have been down the road a little bit further, who can help you out, that's what we're here for. And I'm going to drop a link in the chat. You can grab some time with me. I'm going to put this out here. About 80% of my AI consultations, they don't result in a sale at all. I hope I don't get fired for that, but that's just the truth. It's just helping organizations navigate these very, very overwhelming and murky waters. And we want to be a resource. We want to be trusted in the community. And so this is a big piece of that equation. All right. I'm going to hand it over back to you, James, to close this out.
All right. Thanks, Josh. So appreciate that. I want to leave you with something. AI isn't a threat to your business. Unmanaged AI is a threat to your business, right? This technology, it's extraordinary. It's the most powerful productivity tool most of us will probably see in our lifetimes. And it's coming to construction whether you're ready for it or not. So the question isn't whether AI will transform how buildings get built. The question is whether you're going to lead that transformation or you're going to react to it. But here's the thing, the contractors who win in the next 3 years, they're not going to be the ones with the most AI tools. They're not going to be the ones who spent the most money on licenses. They're going to be the ones whose people know how to use AI safely, effectively, and confidently. And guess what? That's a leadership decision. And if you're a leader in here, that's your decision. You have a chance right now, today, to be the leader who makes this happen for your company, to be the person who says, we're going to get ahead of this, to be the one who protects your bid data, empowers your team, and probably turns AI into a competitive advantage instead of a liability like it is right now. Not next quarter, not next year, this week. Your competitors are using AI today with or without a plan. Frankly, your employees are probably using AI today with or without your guidance. The question is whether you're going to lead that adoption. And we're hoping that you will. And as Josh mentioned, if you want to get there faster, that's what we're here for. All right, Josh, I'm going to turn this one over to you. If you would talk about our next webinar, please, sir.
Yeah, so this is part of a series. So the next one is going to be from bid to punch list, where AI actually works today in construction. I'm going to put a link in the chat right now. There you go. So you can register. Also scan the QR code for sure. That's a thing too. So you can register for this one. This one's going to be where AI actually works for construction. So the idea is we want to start with security, and now we're going to run into, hey, how's this actually helping with every phase of the timeline of the construction life cycle? And so that's what we're going to get into. We're going to get into a lot of use cases. We're going to get into, I'm a little bit nervous about this, probably some live demoing of some things. If you've ever live demoed anything on a webinar, oh my gosh, I just don't even sleep the night before. It's great. Yeah, it's very dangerous. High risk, high reward though. The whole idea is we just want to meet you where you're at and give you some more resources to help you. So that's coming up August 12th. Register for that one. We'd love to see you back. Share it with friends if you found this useful. This webinar will also be up. The recorded version, we will send it out to you, and it will be up on our website along with our other webinars that we've done around the subject as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh. Okay, so we're going to open it up. Josh and I are here. We got a few minutes left. Let's open it up. Does anyone have any questions? Drop on the chat or unmute, ask directly. Nothing's off limits. We're open to it. I do have a couple that were sent in. Oh, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate that feedback.
Awesome. Thank you.
So here's one. Josh, you mentioned pilots with clients. Well, tell me what use cases you've seen work maybe for some of the smaller GCs that are out there.
Yeah, man. So you mentioned, we talked about it. That's where this came out of, safety meeting planning. Usually the individual running those is wearing multiple hats. and so, or hard hats. I did it. So with that, they were able to save just a ton of time with some workflows that we built out and an agent that we built out. They were able to put together a series of meetings and have that knocked out. Another one I think I mentioned earlier is more on the compliance side. CMMC being able to scan and scour government websites, which I don't know who puts those together, but just building an agent to help them walk through those very, very quickly. It scrapes all the data and basically it populates the jobs so they can bid. And so again, they're just able to find the jobs quicker, bid them quicker, and get more of them out. Which AI platform do you see being the most common or popular in the construction industry? Company managed, of course, not a free tool. Yeah,
right.
good looking
answer.
out, Jordan. You want to answer this one, James?
Yeah, I'll take this one.
Okay.
In general, and look, this changes every month, right? Last year, ChatGPT was everything. Everyone was using it. Nowadays, Anthropic tools and Claude seems to be taking over. Now, I'd be careful because if you're a DoD contractor, that's not allowed right now. So I want to be very careful about that. In general, it does seem like there's a big move toward the Anthropic Claude AI tools. Now, I promise I wouldn't do products today, so I don't want to pitch you, but there are other products who will package all the LLMs or many of the LLMs together, the large language models, the different AI tools, and offer them with a secure umbrella over it. It's something that we're doing and we use internally, but I promise not to talk about products today, so I'm not going to. But right now, it's the Anthropic tools, except for the DoD contractors not allowed to use them. And next month it could be somebody else. I mean, Google seems to be ramping up. They were falling behind there. They know it, so now they're ramping up their tools. We're seeing some competitors to like Anthropic's Fable and some other coming out there. So right now Anthropic, tomorrow, who knows? Great question, Jordan. Thank you for asking that. All right, anybody else? My pleasure, Alicia. Okay, so as we mentioned, we're gonna send the deck. We're gonna send out the never list, the Monday morning checklist, so you have everything you need. If you're interested in taking the next step, Josh dropped his link to schedule with him. No pressure, no commitments. Not why we're here. Just clarity on where you stand and where you go. Right. So then he even admitted it, like only about a fifth of his actually lands. So we're just going to talk. Thank you all for being here. This was good stuff. Please go protect your bid data and build something great this week. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thank you.